Welcome to the channel. Thank you guys for tuning in. Today's review will be on the Cronos Omega RailMaster Homage. Take this time to hit the subscribe button and remember to hit the notifications bell so you stay up to date with all the latest reviews. Also remember to check the links in the description as they'll be linked to the AliExpress store for the relevant watch that is being reviewed, and you'll find my email address and link to my eBay store. As always, remember to leave your comments in the section below. Thank you for watching and I hope you enjoyed the review. Welcome to the channel. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is my first Cronos that I'm going to be reviewing today. And for those of you that don't know, Cronos is a brand of a company called Lugyou. They also produce or make San Martin watches. Now Lugyou is a factory and they produce a lot of the cases. I don't know what else they make, but I know they do produce a lot of cases for like Heimdallr and of course San Martin Cronos. But I think they might produce cases for a lot more Chinese brands out there. As mentioned, this is my first ever Cronos watch, so let's see what this brand is about. Before I go any further, I want to put you over to the AliExpress store, like I've started doing in my recent videos, just so you know how to navigate it and see what's out there. So let's have a look what's on AliExpress, go onto the Cronos store, check it out quickly, and then we'll come back to the actual review. So we're on the AliExpress website and we are looking for the Cronos store. If you were to type in Cronos, you're not going to find it on AliExpress. That's because it used to be called Lugyou. So you've got to type in Lugyou, Lugyou, and then you come across what used to be called the Lugyou store under the new name Cronos. Here you're going to find the store and all the products they have. Let's go into the store and let's search the watch which we're interested in. Now Lugyou, if you're not familiar or if you don't know, they are the company or the factory that produces San Martin. So if you're thinking you recognize these watches, that's because they are listed or were listed on also on the San Martin official page on AliExpress. So Lugyou wanted to start another brand. They went with the name Cronos or Cronos, and you'll see a lot of models have transferred over under the new name, which personally I think is pretty pointless. So they've got like the turtle, I mean they've got some rebranded watches, some watches that were called Retro Ross, and they've named them Cronos. You'll see a few pilots, but the one we're interested in is the watch which we are going to review. So on the website you get all your specifications. There's no model number here that I can find. So anyway, let's continue. You see a few closer pictures of the watch. Now if you know your watches, you can clearly tell this is a homage to an Omega. It's got the Omega looks. I'd say somewhat RailMaster. However, I'm going to go into it in slightly more detail in the review once I pinpoint what it actually is meant to be. Let's go into the review and let's do a deep dive into the watch. So we've got the watch in front of us. This is how it comes. Obviously you've got the same black plastic capsule style box with the Cronos sticker on the top left. Inside we should receive an extra leather strap. So far I think it looks like a very nice strap. I love the whole antique vintage distressed look of this leather strap. Let's put that to one side. What you also get is a Lugyou international guarantee, as I mentioned, stated and stamped. As I mentioned, they are called Lugyou, and they went through a rebranding and they went with the name Cronos. So you'll receive the watch. I've removed all protective packaging. It will come with the usual stickers. I've just removed that to save time. Let's move this. Just give it a quick once over. Just have a look. They have a few different color options in this watch. I think they have a blue dial and a green dial. I'll briefly flick through that on the AliExpress store. The watch does come with a curved end silicone rubber strap, which is on the surface of it looks really good. It's just silicone. As you can tell, obviously it's a bronze case. I believe it's CUSN8 as advertised on the AliExpress store. Looks wise, now I don't know too much. I've mentioned it in a few videos before. I don't know a lot about the really high-end pieces, or just there's a lot of watches out there, and you know, I've polarized myself from day one mainly to Seikos, and I got into Homage watches because they were homaging Seikos, obviously. Now I think even to me, I can see a bit of Omega, bit of RailMaster in here. So if anyone watching, if you have more knowledge and you know exactly what it is, just let us know in the comments. Personally, what I think it is, I think it's a cross between a very old 1968 Omega 300, and that's because of the indices that are on the dial. The handset is different though. The handset is very similar to the Omega Seamaster RailMaster. It's quite a new model, it looks like, because it's still up for sale. As you can see, the handset matches the newer watch, but the indices match the older watch. So I don't know what they were thinking here. Oh, nearly dropped that. And also with the first Omega, the Omega 300, that did have a bezel, so this one doesn't come with that. So I don't know if they've intentionally made their own homage from a homage. Lugyou have, I think, merged two together. I could be wrong. There might be a Omega model out there that looks exactly the same, in which case you know, it's that then. Let's look at this a little further. Looking at the dial, it does look quite large. You see a very large surface area, and you're probably assuming the watch is quite big. So let's look at the dimensions. The diameter of the case is 42 millimeters. You've got a 11 millimeter thickness. That's right, 11 mil. And you've got a 47 mil lug to lug. Specifications, you've got a flat AR coated sapphire. Now, as you can probably tell, the AR coating is not very strong on this, and I prefer that. You can just about tell there's a hint when you look at the edge of the glass. You've got this bronze case. Movement wise, you've got a see-through case back. The glass there is mineral, and the movement is a PT 5000. If you don't know what that movement is, I have a video on my channel. I'll link it in this vid, and then you can have a look at it. Fantastic movement. So even though a version of the PT 5000 achieved very strict you know, time accuracy, out of the box manufacturer certifications are 12 seconds plus or minus on a day, which is still very tight compared to, I think, Seiko, the NX35s, which give you, if I'm top of my head, I think it's minus 15 plus like 30 or something, you know, give or take around that figure. So very tight spec for the actual movement. Now, one of the reasons that this watch has been able to achieve, you know, a thickness of 11 millimeters is due to the movement as well. The movement is thinner compared to the NH35, and that's a plus for this watch already. It's not very easy, or you don't see watches of this size coming in at 11 mil thick, especially if you're looking at, you know, divers and whatnot. And generally, this style watch, you're looking at roughly around 12.5, 13.5 mil. So it's good that they've got it that thin, to be honest. Let's look at some of the finer details on the actual watch. So looking at the dial, you can already see that it's a printed dial from the yellow loomed indices to the numerals at the 12, 3, 6 and 9. The logo at 12 o'clock is also printed, and you've got automatic 150 meters, 500 foot water resistance rating at the bottom, just above the 6 o'clock. Minute tracks printed. You know what it is, I'm trying to hold back the logo, right? I'm gonna hold back on sharing my thoughts on the actual logo. Name, Cronos, I can live with it, but the actual style, you know, if you're quite close to my channel, what I mean is, and if you stay in tune with it, I did a poll recently just to determine how people feel about the actual design of the text. So I'm not going to speak about that on this video, because I am going to make a separate video just on this whole Cronos branding, you know, design, and I've got some interesting news for everyone out there as well. The hands, as mentioned, you know, they don't really match the dial in terms of the watch they are homaging. However, if we remove the Omega out of the equation, let's treat this watch as it is. They do fit the dial. There's no issue with that. You've got the yellow and white sort of color combination going on. The hands themselves are bronze, so they match the case. You've got candlestick style hands. You've got a white seconds hand, a lollipop style seconds hand. So all in all, you do get a very vintage look, and combined with the finish on the case, leather strap, it does look quite rustic. So for the look that they were going for, and for the people out there that do like this very, you know, old school rustic look, I think this is a fantastic looking watch. Glass, as mentioned, there's a very slight bit of air coating, but it is sapphire. I've tested this, and the fit and finish sits pretty flush against the bezel. I'm glad they went for that, and nothing that you know, the accidental top hat look, where it's not quite top hat sapphire, but it's just too big for the watch, and you get like a lip. So that's okay. Case, you've got a typical asymmetrical case, which also is quite a popular case used by Omega themselves. You've got a crown at the 3 o'clock position, good amount of grip, is quite thick, and you saw me open it earlier on, so the screw down is okay. Worth mentioning, the actual crown tube is stainless steel. It's not going to be bronze. Obviously bronze, because it oxidizes, you know, we don't want to have it affect that mechanism. The finish on the case, you can tell this is that tinny and copper mix, where the bronze is quite dark. You've got quite a burnished finish. You can see some of that where the bezel has been attached to the case. As I mentioned earlier, it has a 150 meter water resistance. If you're thinking, you know, why is it not more? The standard is 200 meters. Yes, it is, but what you'll find usually is watches that do have a exhibition case back, they don't generally come with 200 meters of water resistance. They usually come with something lower, around the 100 meter mark. So for this to have 150 meters, I think it's okay still for your normal, you know, shallow swimming and showering. But personally, I don't wear any watches near water. If I'm, you know, washing my hands or whatever, I'll keep it on, but you know, if I'm going to shower or whatever, I'll remove the watch. Now, with this being bronze, it's going to oxidize a lot faster as well. So if you want to preserve the oxidization or slow it down, you know, you can use linseed oil, apply that, and just, you know, don't expose it to too many elements out there. But if you want to speed it up, I know a lot of people do like to speed up the patina. I think I've seen some crazy things on the internet where people are just pouring in some vinegar. I don't know, just, you know, Google will tell you a lot of things on how to force the patina look. Moving on to the strap applied with the watch. The strap's nice. Yes, it's one of the nicer things about the watch. I think it matches the watch perfectly. Of course, you've got this, it's quite thick, very good quality, very, you know, this whole worn look, distressed leather. I do like it. You can see the grain. You've got this almost handmade look to it as well, with the thick string being used. Bronze buckle itself, I think it's quite a standard buckle. It's not very thick or wide, there's no feature to it, and there's no engraving on it. It'd be a nice touch if they did, but I think this is just a very generic, it's quite thin, so it's not the nicest of safety buckles that you get. Let's have a quick look of how this watch actually looks like on the wrist. As you saw, it has a good fit on the wrist. I think the looks, just looking at it, it can be quite deceiving. The proportions are not as big as the watch looks. You know, you've got a pretty standard now 42mm diameter, and you've got a 47mm lug to lug, so not the longest of cases. But I think because there's no bezel, and you've got this flat sapphire crystal, it gives the watch a larger appearance than it actually is. Let's see how the Loom looks on this watch. I'm interested to see what color it is actually, because you've got these yellow indices. So you have got green C3 Loom. I think this is Super Luminova. I've seen the usual C3. It's a lot duller than this. You know, as per usual with, let's say, Lugyou, I want to say San Martin because I know it's the same people. You know, you've got good quality of Loom, evenly applied, no patches, and I think the longevity on this Loom will be pretty decent as well. So hands, second hand, you can see it ticking around, indices, there's no issues on the Loom. So I guess I'm ready to sum up on this watch now. I think this is where I need your help from the subscribers. I don't actually know what to make of this watch. I don't really know how I feel. I know for one, it isn't for me. I think it's just too plain. So the watches that I am quite enthusiastic about, they do have a few features on there. And that's why stuff like the Fliegers, nice watch, pilot watches, I can appreciate them for what they are, but I wouldn't wear them myself personally. So I think if we look at first impression, so when I first took it out the box, I was underwhelmed. You know, no excitement about it. I was like, oh, okay. And it took me a while to kind of figure out what it looks like. You know, I had to have the help of a friend. You know, I had to phone a friend, use one of the lifelines. And together, I think we came across, we came to the conclusion that it's a mix between the Omega 300, that 1968 vintage watch, as mentioned in the start of this video, and the Omega Seamaster RailMaster. I think if we cover it pros, good points, bad points, that might make it easier, and possible improvements. So the good is obviously the build quality is there. It's been made really well, leather strap. I think you can't fault it on the way it's actually been made. The second thing, the PT5000 movement, massive plus. You know, you're gonna have a Swiss alternative movement in here, a very capable movement, which is gonna be very accurate and reliable at the same time. Which obviously you're gonna have this high beat sweep. So I think the biggest things going for this watch is the actual movement. The looks, it is very subjective, so if you like the watch, you know, that's your choice. It's quite light. I like how, you know, the case dimensions actually, and that, you know, you get a very overall a very rustic look to the watch, very vintage, and you can see that has its own sort of draw to it. Now the bad, I think because we're used to seeing these Chinese companies literally copying, you know, the other brands out there, I'd say it's a poor homage, or a copage, because as mentioned, it's kind of confusing what it's supposed to look like. And it may be that there is a watch from Omega that looks exactly like this, and I'm hoping a subscriber will tell me what it is, and then obviously that confusion goes away. But as I don't know what watch it is exactly like, on that side, I'd say they could have done better. But if it was meant to be, they done this intentionally, then, you know, props to them. It might not be that nice, but they did try to own it by you know, a given they try to merge two designs together. The dial, if they're copying the Omega, I think, you know, they could have, because there's no bezel, so it's more like the newer Omega Seamaster, RailMaster. So I think they could have gone with a teaked dial. It'd be nice to see some more textures from San Martin, and just generally a lot of the other Chinese brands. Now it's about time. Let's see some features on dials. Let's see what they can actually do. So it would have been, you know, nice to see that teaked effect dial. And what's interesting, as far as the Seamaster homages go, Corguet, Corguet do a pretty decent job, at least just on the face of it. You know, on the looks part, Corguet do have it down pretty well, to be honest, from what I've seen on AliExpress and a couple of the reviews out there. And the last but not least, the logo. Yeah, like I said, I can live with the name, but that style, it's embarrassing, to be honest. But I'm gonna reserve all my feedback on the actual logo for the next video I'm gonna do, which is just gonna be about this whole Cronos branding situation. That's me done for the review. I don't think I've got anything else to add. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments, particularly about this model, because, you know, as you can probably gauge through my review, I haven't really been sure what to think about it. That's enough. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next video.